Welcome to Conversations with Erin, Jill, and Cameron. We have Cam in the studio today.
Hey.
I am so excited. This is so much fun. If you listen to the 100th episode, Cam was on the 100th episode. It was actually her first time on the podcast.
Yeah, it was.
So welcome back, Cam.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. You can come on anytime. Actually, Cam and I have talked about doing our own podcast together about football, faith, fashion, and family.
All the Fs.
All of the Fs, okay? And I don't know, you think we can do it someday?
I totally would. I think that'd be so much fun.
Well, I feel like you should do it.
There's Mom.
Sorry.
Oh, there goes my eardrums.
Sorry. I was too close to the microphone. Sorry. I hope that doesn't bother the listener too. But
we apologize in advance.
As she's videoing, she's talking as she's videoing me right now.
All right. But I think that's such a good idea because you guys can speak to your culture, your age group about faith, family, football, and fashion. I feel like you both know so much about both of those areas that you can impact people's lives. And it obviously would be very fun. And you both have style. I love how you both have style. You try to make me have some sort of style, but
you know what's funny
I don't know.
Is I totally copied Cam's style, but now it's like kind of become my own style too.
Yeah.
But
I'll give it to you.
We have this like streetwear casual vibe. If you have seen us really on any of our posts or even the videos on this podcast, we wear sweatshirts all the time.
That's literally all I wear. My entire wardrobe is hoodies and sweatpants. So for Christmas, that's all I asked for was sweatsuits.
And your dad just does not get that. He's
At
just
all.
Neither
like
does Parker.
he's like, how can you have?
Well, Dad
that?
wears this same thing. Let's
Oh
just
my
talk
goodness.
about that.
Oh yes.
The exact same thing. All the time. He just switches it up and wears like those pants with the same shirt and then switches the combination. It's awful. Honestly, it's terrible.
Oh my goodness! The other day, I was like, Jim, you need to change your clothes. Like you need to change the outfit. He had worn it. That was like it was going on the third day.
Stop.
The same outfit?
The same outfit. And of course,
Oh
it's not
my
like
gosh.
I know. And it's not like he's going out and about, going to places. It's not like he had a speaking event or anything like that he had to go to where he was wearing the exact same thing. But it was like the same sweatshirt, the same sweatpants. I don't want to put guys all in the same category because not all guys are messy. But, like daddy, he gets stuff on his sweatshirt and his clothes.
Poor dad.
And it's just,
poor dad.
Sometimes he'll just
honestly,
switch up the hat, but then the hat is awful. And
Oh, I
sometimes
know.
it's
And-
crooked on his
okay,
head.
so
yes.
And
let's
it's
just
so bad.
Okay, let's talk about something though. He's colorblind.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
which is very interesting. I've asked him, I'm like, how did you play football being colorblind? Like, how did you know that you were throwing to the right color jersey? And he's like, sometimes I didn't.
He just kind of winged
Well,
it.
he was a really good quarterback anyway.
I was
So-
going to say that goes to show you how good he was. He didn't even know what
and
player
then
he was throwing
even,
to.
like the traffic light, red, green. I mean, like, what does that look like to you? What
Oh,
color is
purple.
that? He knows red, green, and yellow by which one lights up and is brighter.
That's crazy.
Why didn't I
That's
know
crazy.
that?
Yeah, and not seeing color clearly like that. You know how somebody's like, "What is that, purple?" Or he'll say I'm like, "Oh my gosh, no,
Like,
it's
no,
like
not at all.
blue, or it's like red, or it's like a totally different color."
Well, and that totally goes into his fashion sense, which he has none. But he'll just wear the most random combinations of things. And we're like, Dad, no, absolutely not. Like, go change. And the thing I love about Dad is like, he really just doesn't care. He's just like being
No,
himself.
He does not care,
And that's fine to a certain extent. But we're also like, Dad, come on. And you know what? With Parker, he's got some good style, but
Aw.
that's because I have bought him the clothes that he's wearing.
Yeah.
It's so funny. So for Christmas, you guys know, like his entire Christmas list is camo, hunting stuff. Like that's the whole list. And I'm like, Parker, like, I'm sorry, but I'm going to get you what I want you to wear.
right.
Which means his closet's just, it's filled with essentials, fear of God, brands
All the
like
good
that,
stuff
all
that
the
we
good
wear.
stuff. But so
Well, and Daddy too. Speaking of fashion, right? Well, Daddy will say to you, Cam, "Why do I always wear black?" That is such a like.
Oh, I do too. It's like my color.
It's the
I love
only
that
color
sweatshirt
in
you
my,
have on. By the way,
thank you.
You matter.
It's the
And
only
you-
color in my wardrobe. Basically, is black.
Well,
It matches
it's just
everything.
easy. It matches
Yeah,
everything,
exactly.
and
especially when you're like Cam and I, where we match our outfit with our sneakers. It's like you pick out the sneakers and you're like, okay, what's going to go with this?
Exactly.
And black goes with anything. So essentially, we can just wear whatever pair of sneakers we want with our black outfit. So, I mean, if you're listening, stay tuned. We may have a podcast in the future coming about fashion, faith, football, family, all of the above.
Mhm.
yes. And I will say that as your mom, when you guys were little, I always dressed you in comfortable clothes. So this could be my fault.
Okay,
No,
whoa,
but you
whoa,
also
whoa.
she also let me wear 7 shirts at once, which I don't I still
Oh
to this
my
day don't understand why I
goodness.
thought that was like a thing.
Cameron,
like, I
you
would flex it.
did.
Like, guys, look, I have 8 shirts on.
You
Like 8 shirts, Cam? Really?
no, you really did, Cameron. You
The one on top was the most important one because that's the one that everybody saw. So I don't understand what the underneath layers were about.
And
but
I'm
it's
pretty
fine.
sure the top one was like limited to with like the monkey or the frog
to.
on it.
Yeah.
oh my goodness,
probably.
your clothes, Cameron. I remember that phase. She did. You layered up. You had on sometimes
Yes.
like 5 shirts. Sometimes
I don't understand. It wasn't. It's not like it was a trend,
And
It
it's
was
not like you were
It was a
cold.
Cam thing.
It was just exactly. It was a
It was a
Cam thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mom.
And your favorite color? Do you remember the favorite colors?
orange.
Going through that phase, orange.
Orange.
Cam, orange was your
There was
favorite
purple.
color.
It was
I
really
had
orange,
phases.
purple, and
Yeah.
then like now it's red.
Well, and then Erin,
and black.
you went through the phase where
Oh my gosh.
you had the Jesus Rocks T-shirt.
Oh
It was
yeah.
the cutest. It was a black T-shirt.
I wish we could show you guys the pictures. I mean,
Wow. We will not be putting
she was a
any.
heartbreaker.
We will not be putting any throwback
I wish we
pictures.
could like stitch in a picture. Here's the picture. That'd be so
Let's
funny.
not.
Well, and how about matching your best friend?
oh my
Oh,
gosh.
yeah, that was.
Absolutely.
Matching your best friend.
We
That
would
was
always
stage.
be matching. But
You
like,
were always matching with Shelby. Cameron was always matching with Bailey.
But that's like what you did.
But now, and of course, it's adorable. But you look back now and you're like, Mom, why did you let me do that?
Absolutely. Why did you let me wear like these shorts that were, I don't know, they were like the checkered shorts and then with tall socks and Crocs. I look back on some of the outfits and I'm like so mad. I'm like, Mom, why would you let me do that? I don't understand why you would let me do that. That's just, it's mean, guys.
No, because that's what the fashion was at that point in time. Same with you, Cameron.
I'm pretty sure that's not what the fashion was.
Yeah, I don't think so, Mom. So
We've also, speaking of fashion, we have talked about creating our own clothing line. This is like kind of like a little sneak peek drop here. We could potentially be coming out with our own sweatshirts, t-shirts
Some
in the future,
merchandise.
some
Got some merch.
merchandise,
But
some
that- I
podcast
mean,
merch.
The thing is, we have so much experience wearing sweatshirts.
Oh my gosh, we really do.
It sounds so ridiculous, but don't you think we all have a lot of experience wearing sweatshirts? So we know like a good quality sweatshirt. We know what we like. We know what we wear. We know what, and I think that when we do some merchandise, like for the podcast, I think it needs to be something that, first of all, we love and we wear all the time, but that is comfortable and that it's high quality and it can go through a lot of washes and all those sorts of things.
So
Things that moms think about.
things that moms think about. That being said, stay tuned.
stay tuned for a lot of things.
Exactly. Ooh, stay
Ooh,
tuned for
Cam,
a lot
okay.
of things. In that comes more episodes with Cam Kelly. So, I love doing episodes with you. It's
Aw.
Well,
really
why don't we
fun.
just
Thanks,
make
buddy.
this into a faith, family, football, fashion session right now? Why don't we
Well,
just?
I mean, we might
we
as
just
well. We're
talked about
talking
some
about it.
fashion, right? We
Yeah.
just talked about that. How about football? Right now, as we're recording this,
Yeah.
the Super Bowl is in 2 weeks.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Exactly.
big sigh. One, because the Bills are obviously not in the Super Bowl.
And the arch nemesis which is the Kansas City Chiefs.
If you are listening to this and you like the Kansas City Chiefs, you might as well just stop listening. Because honestly, like they just drive. I still don't even have words.
There's at a loss for words.
I'm at a loss for words
when
'cause I
talking about Kansas City.
I just don't. But it It is what it
The
is.
true NFL fans out there, you know what we're talking about. We want to see football.
Right. Right.
Leave Taylor Swift out of it. Okay, I apologize to all you Taylor Swift fans. Anyway, as Buffalo Bills fans, we obviously can't stand the Kansas City Chiefs. And if you follow me on Instagram a couple of days ago when the Kansas City Chiefs were playing to go to the Super Bowl, they were playing the Ravens, and I put a poll up in my story and I was like, okay, who do you want to see in the Super Bowl? I think I maybe had one person. And I had like over 100 responses. I think I had one person say the Kansas City Chiefs. And you know who it was? My aunt. It was Aunt Kim.
What?
Aunt Kim, if you're listening, I am calling you out right now. I was like, girlfriend, we are Buffalo Bills fans. We do not cheer for the Chiefs ever.
And
no
also
matter who they
because
play.
They've already been to the Super Bowl. They want
Way too many times.
You kind of want to see teams that like haven't been to the Super Bowl or that like haven't won. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it gets annoying when it's the exact same team. Like we don't care
Well, you know,
anymore.
that's how they felt about the Buffalo Bills when your dad went 4 years in a row. No,
Mom.
they were like, not again. And then the Buffalo Bills, like meaning your dad, Bruce, Thurman, Andre, all those guys would say, we're back.
Well, and can we
Oh, my.
just talk about the 4 Super Bowls? No one's done it yet. I mean,
Right.
I know Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, like, yes, obviously 2 of the greatest all time by far, but no one's gone to 4 straight. And that
Right.
just goes to show you how hard it is to go to 4 straight Super Bowls in a row. Yes, I know people, they lost, whatever, but they still went 4 years in a row. And I will say that back then, they were so much more rough on the quarterback. They could
Right.
basically knock him out and they would continue to play, not get a penalty. And the game was like so much harder back then, especially on the quarterback. So, you know what? I know I'm his daughter, but I think it's a huge it is a huge accomplishment to be able to do that. But anyway, I also want to say, so now obviously the Kansas City Chiefs, huge rivalry. But when Dad was playing, it was the Dolphins.
Oh, it
And
was the
then
Dolphins. And then
when I was growing up, Cam, when you and I were growing up, it was the Patriots because of Tom Brady. So it's like it shifts with, honestly, whoever's the best quarterback in the league, but also who we are constantly against. But honestly, I feel like I'd take Tom Brady over Patrick Mahomes.
I agree.
yeah.
Like the days of going against the Patriots and that just being brutal, like I hated it. I think I was in like middle school and we got
And you used to pray watching the games.
I
It was
did.
the cutest
I did.
thing.
And then like I remember this specific game. It was a night game and we were losing by so much. Like we were just getting dominated against. And I literally cried when we lost. Like this just goes to show you how invested we are in football, specifically in the Bills.
And you guys
But
really didn't have a choice. I mean,
that's true.
you grew up Bills fans. And I think that
And
is
I'm
that,
so
is that
thankful
okay?
for that.
Like, did you guys ever want to be a fan for another team?
No, never. I mean, obviously, the majority of growing up, we were horrible. Like our team just
Well, yeah.
wasn't good. We didn't go to the playoffs. Thank God for Josh Allen coming in and just taking this team over. But we finally have hope. Like I feel like we have hope now that we can actually make it to the Super Bowl. But, you know, every year I just feel like we keep saying next year.
Next year. But with Josh at the helm, like you said, we have hope now.
Yeah. Thankfully. Thank God for Josh and for the rest of the crew. I mean, we have a great team, but I do think, like Dad has always said this, it starts with the leader. It starts with the quarterback, the one who's leading the team. And I'm very thankful that Josh is the leader of this team. And so hopefully next year, guys.
Yeah, we'll look
Yes.
back on this and be like, we said last year, this year, and then it'll be never mind. Anyways.
Okay, so if you're listening to this, you know that for the Super Bowl, we are rooting
Wait, who
for
are we? We have
The 49ers.
49ers, Mom.
What? Oh my goodness.
It's the Chiefs.
Obviously,
and the
right.
49ers. Okay. Rewind.
She's like, we haven't talked about this. Wait.
Yeah,
As if we weren't
obviously.
just talking about
you
how
know
we
what?
didn't like the Chiefs.
You
for
know what's
10
really
minutes.
cool? Brock Purdy, the quarterback
Mhm.
for the 49ers, is Mr. Irrelevant.
I know. That's part of the reason why I really want them to win, because what a cool story.
Yeah, what a cool story. I mean, he was the last pick of the draft, and now he's in the Super Bowl.
And I think that was only like 2 years ago that he was drafted. And so, I mean, it's huge. And I love rooting for the underdog. Unless the underdog is playing us. I will not root for the underdog.
So, okay. So we've talked about football. We've talked about fashion. Unless you wanted to say anything more about fashion.
I think I'm due for another pair of sneakers.
Oh,
yeah, Mom, we're putting you on the spot. Sneakers?
Well, and that's interesting. And that'll be the thing. It'll be Mother's Day. I'm like, you guys can pick something out for Mother's Day. Or it will be Valentine's Day. I'm like, you guys can pick something out for Valentine's Day.
And what do we usually pick out?
Sneakers.
Exactly.
Or hoodies.
Hoodies or sneakers.
Sneakers. It's just, and I thought this was a phase.
But
you guys are still in it. So it's, I guess, not a phase.
No.
It's not a phase. And this quote unquote phase is just going to carry on to when I have children. I mean, my kids are going to dress so cute.
Same.
Speaking of, okay, let's talk about family, Erin.
Okay. All right.
Notice that I don't really bring up grandchildren anymore because I've given that to God. Literally, I have given that to God because it's up to him. It is up to you, Parker.
Well,
I mean, you're part of this equation, but I just trust him with the outcome, and I pray and I talk to him about it. And if when he blesses us with grandchildren, I'm so thankful, and I can't wait.
And Cam with a niece or nephew,
Auntie Cam.
Oh, okay. Right now, my dogs. Cam is Auntie Cam. So every time Cam comes over to my house, I'm like, guys, Auntie Cam's here.
Oh, I miss
and
them.
Olive and Blue come running over.
They love you so much.
I love them.
They love their Auntie Cam.
And if anyone follows me on Instagram, you know that I'm in the midst of a struggle. I'm in the midst of a dog struggle right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because at one point in time, we had 5 dogs, and now we are literally down to 1 dog, and his name is Bear, and he has a torn ACL. And and it's taken a bit to try to figure out how to get that fixed for him. But anyway, long story short, so I want another dog, but I don't know what kind. And I follow this site on Instagram. It's a rescue dog site. And so, of course.
Is that the one that you always send me?
Buddy Rescue. I think it's called Buddy Rescue.
I think you sent me pictures of dogs on there, and it just makes me so sad.
I know.
Because I want them all. I want every
right.
single dog.
How many times have you asked
Cam.
for a dog, Cam?
No, a specific dog.
A Shiba.
A Shiba. I want one so bad. I'm going to get one. I'm speaking it into existence. I've been asking for that specific dog for probably like 10 years.
And this is what happens. And this literally
Cameron
just
never
happened.
lets up. That's what happens.
I
Of course
won't.
not.
I refuse.
Of course not. But when I was in Lynchburg recently with Cam's like, let's just go to the pet store. Like, let's just go for fun. You go in there and you leave almost crying because you're like, that dog just stole my heart and you want to take them all home with you. I'm
Literally.
like, Cam, why do we do this to ourselves? Like,
They're so cute.
we want a dog so bad. I have 2, so that's enough for me for now.
Well, you want a corgi. So that
want
makes
a
me think I
corgi.
might want a corgi. But then I went through the Shiba. I thought I wanted a Shiba.
But Cam would be so upset if you got a Shiba before her.
I would be upset, but at the same time, it's if she has one, it's basically
It's basically yours. That's
But like, I want my own, like, so I can say like, that's my dog. But if she got one, then I could see like how they are first. So she can be the test. She can be the test person.
There you go.
But the thing about, and I did some investigating, and Shibas are, I don't know.
I heard they're feisty. I feel like it also
They're not very
depends, though.
friendly.
No, see, I've heard opposite things. I've heard that they are. So, like, I feel like it just depends. It also depends on the dog you get, and like how you train it too. Because
They also say Chihuahuas are not friendly.
and Ollie's amazing.
Exactly.
I love Chihuahuas, and I love Chihuahuas because they're so small. So I don't know. So anyway, I am torn to get a rescue dog or to get a Chihuahua, or I don't know what to do.
If you're listening, shoot us a DM. Let us know what kind of dog she should get.
Yes, that
Because
would
we need some
we
help.
did. Remember, we did talk about that. I talked about it on Instagram, and I got a lot of feedback.
Yeah. I mean,
A lot of people said those Labradoodle kinds.
No,
I'm just not a doodle person.
I'm not a doodle person.
anything that ends in a doodle, poodle, doodle, whatever.
Doodle,
It doesn't
doodle.
matter. No, absolutely. Absolutely not.
I think we can all agree on that one.
So we talked about dogs as part of family, but I just want you to know, Cam.
Is this you telling me I'm going to get a dog?
No. Oh my goodness. No.
So close.
I'm just really thankful that you are here right now today doing this podcast with us because you're only home from school for like 3 days, and we would have you on a podcast, which is why we are doing this type of podcast right now, because I think you have so much to give. You're so gifted, and I love you so much. And I want you to, just know that you have so much to share and so much to impact people's lives with. And I'm just really thankful you're here, and you matter. She has a sweatshirt on that says you matter. So I just want to remind you how much your life matters, and it matters to me, and it matters to your sister. And, as a family, we've gone through a lot, and we continue to go through a lot. And I think that because of all that we've been through, it has made us cling to each other that much more and cling to our faith in God.
I agree 100%. And we need each other. And that's why I'm so thankful that God has blessed us with the family that we have, because the truth is that when you go through hard things, honestly, sometimes it can pull you apart from each other. But we are the kind of family that it just draws us closer in. And Cam, both of us having gone through losing our brother, I think that brought us very close because we get each other. We know what it's like to go through that, and it's hard. And you know what? Cam and I both dealt with grief and still deal with grief very differently. We are very different people in a lot of ways, and we're alike in some ways too, but especially how we dealt with losing Hunter and everything like that. But I'm so thankful that we have each other. And the truth is Cam and I, we really have always been close, but we were never as close as we are now. And honestly, it took me going through everything that I was going through in terms of my mental health and really just needing my sister, and also recognizing that I couldn't be your mom.
Yeah.
And I wasn't supposed to be your mom.
And I think that played a lot into the navigating of your relationship and the change in your relationship, how you were very much, and because you're a caregiver, Erin, that's part of who you are, is you want to take care of people, and you've always wanted to take care of your sister since she was little. You literally have taken care of her since she was a little girl. And so going through that transition of mothering her to you guys being best friends, I've watched it, and it's been such a beautiful transition. And I'm just so thankful for the friendship that you guys have and the love that you have for each other, and that you guys would do anything for each other. You're extremely loyal. And,
Oh, yes, we are.
You go to battle for each other in every instance. And I'm just so thankful that you have that relationship with each other, because, that's not always that's not what everyone has.
Right.
It's not a common, it's not everyone has a good relationship with their siblings.
Well, and I think part of the reason why I, was kind of acting like a mom to Cam was because I was so, and I still am, but so protective of you. I think because of the loss of Hunter, I am so much more protective of you, because I'm not losing her too.
Right.
But little did I know that trying to kind of mom her and protect her so much kind of pushed her away for a while. But now, she's my best friend. I would literally do anything for you. And you know that. And anyone that tries to mess with you has to go through me first. So watch out, because I'm hurricane sister, but I love you to death.
I love you too.
You mean everything to me. And I couldn't have gone through the last few years without you. And I think God is just so amazing in that he brings people into our lives during certain seasons when we need him the most. And you were living in Virginia going to school when I was living in Virginia, really going through a really tough season. And you were there for me, and we would just go and grab coffee. You just pick me up, we'd go get coffee. We would just do things together. And I don't know if you realize it, but you had a huge impact on that season in my life. So Thanks, Cam.
Of course.
I love you so much.
Okay, so what about faith? We could talk for hours about our family and just how God has brought us through so much and how God used Hunter's life to teach us so much about life, period. Love, the love of God, who God is. I mean, you guys growing up, you did everything with your brother until he went to heaven when he was 8.5. And Cameron, you were 6 when he went to heaven. Erin, you were 10. And so you were so young. And so how do you feel like his life has impacted your life and your faith? Like, I know that I would not know Jesus without Hunter's diagnosis and watching him suffer and everything that he went through. Like, I know Christ because God used Hunter to draw me to himself. And so I don't know, how would you guys describe that in your life?
Cam and I both looked at each other. Who goes first? No, I mean, I feel the same way. I wouldn't know who Jesus is if it wasn't for Hunter, because his life honestly pointed to Christ. And I know more of God's love because of Hunter. I know how to love others, I believe, because of Hunter. And his life just radiated Jesus, and he didn't even speak a word. And so I really sought after God because of Hunter, but really too because of you, Mom and Grandma, and how, you guys came to faith in Christ through Hunter's life. And it was watching your example of Christ that I wanted to know more of God. But I mean, Hunter's life also shaped all of my life, and just wanting to impact people's lives the way Hunter impacted mine, and wanting to help people, wanting to help the hurting. I think that it all just goes back to Hunter and how God used Hunter's suffering for good, and how God used Hunter's life to draw us to himself. And Hunter's just the most amazing person, and he has taught us to fight the good fight. And when I was, going through my really, really difficult season, I was reminded a lot of Hunter, and it encouraged me to push through and keep going and to be strong and be courageous. And so, yeah, I miss him.
That one part, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. That one part that you said where when you were struggling and how you thought of Hunter and how it encouraged you to keep going, I feel like that's kind of like what I think whenever I'm struggling with certain things, because he didn't speak a word and he couldn't do a lot, but like, I just feel like during that time, even though I was really young and I don't really remember a lot of it, I just feel like there's certain times that I remember Hunter and like what we would do together. And I just feel like that was such a huge encouragement to me, like to this day, that like, it doesn't matter what you're going through, but like that God is always there. And Hunter was just a sign of that too, even if he's not here. I just feel like, I don't know if that makes sense.
It absolutely makes sense. I love what you said. And what's amazing is your love for Hunter, and just how I've watched from an outside perspective of I was older than you, obviously. So I witnessed you and Hunter, and you were feisty. You still are. But it's just like, we'd play rescue heroes, and we were always doing something with Hunter. And Cam always was there, always wanted to be feisty. And
you tried to give him chest PT. We caught you doing that. We literally walk out of the room for a split second, and Cameron's over there trying to take care of Hunter with the percussor tapping on his chest. And you wanted to suction him. You wanted to take care of him. You too were very much a caregiver. And your brother, I'll never forget. I mean, there's a lot of moments like you growing up, and you were always with Hunter. So everything he did, you did, and you were always doing things together. And even his therapy is like, his physical therapy, his occupational therapy, when he was playing a game, when the teachers came to teach him certain things, you were always a part of everything that he was doing, Cameron. And on the day, his funeral, and you just crying, I will never forget your crying at the church, and how sad and heartbroken you were. And more than anyone else in the room, you were, in fact, I remember my best friend Karen asking me if she could take you out to go to the bathroom, just because you were so worked up and emotional. We all were. Don't get me wrong. We were all very heartbroken, but it's just, I remember vividly seeing you crying. And as such a young little peanut, you were only 6, just, I couldn't imagine what was going on in your mind. And so I'm so thankful that you guys grew up with Hunter and you got to be a part of his life. And he taught you both so much. I mean, and the things that you were taught, that God taught you through Hunter's life, like they will last for your entire lives. You will see people that are handicapped differently. You will see sickness differently. You will understand people's struggles differently because you have experienced that. You can appreciate suffering in a way that other people can't. You are compassionate like other people might not have experienced because they haven't gone through the same thing. And so it's just been amazing. I've loved watching you guys grow and learn even still from your brother's life and how much you loved him. And I see Hunter's love through you guys. Oh, I do. I see his life being poured out through your lives, even in your struggles. I see you guys being courageous and fighting through and not giving up. And it reminds me so much of your brother. And I know that you guys both know God because of all of our struggles of faith. Like we've all struggled in our faith and we've all come to know God and are continuing to grow in our walk with God. And it ultimately started because of a diagnosis that we were given, that there was no help in this world. Nothing in this world was going to save Hunter. Nothing. There was no cure, no treatment, no nothing to save Hunter. And we had to go beyond ourselves, go beyond our family to God to seek after hope and help in life. And we found it.
Period.
So, Cam, do you want to talk about your faith at all? Your struggles? I mean, anything. This is just an open conversation. It can be whatever you want it to be. It's not something like you have to talk about at all. But I know that you don't really get to talk about your faith very much. And I didn't know if maybe you want to share something.
Well, I can tell you something I've been struggling with recently. I mean, what I've talked to you guys about is just about the future and stuff like that.
Right.
And not really, I mean, obviously you're not supposed to have everything figured out immediately when you're done with school. Obviously, that's why I'm also doing grad school to learn more. But I just have been very anxious about not knowing exactly what I'm doing whenever I graduate.
Right. And you're not the only one, Cam.
I know I'm not, but I know everybody's probably thinking a lot about this, but I just feel like a lot of my friends are doing nursing school and stuff like that. And obviously I think about that and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do. And obviously you don't have to have everything figured out right now. But I'm also going to be 25 this year. And so obviously I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting old. I'm not getting old.
You're not getting old.
I know. Okay.
30.
All right, YouTube, relax. But I just sometimes I get anxious about that. And then I feel like I think a lot into it. And I think well, am I doing grad school for no reason? And it makes me very anxious. I just feel like I have a lot of time on my hands when I'm at school. So there's just a lot of unknowns, and it's okay. I know that, but it's also hard to get past it. You know what I'm trying to say.
Well, yeah. And I mean, you just said a lot. And so I'm so proud of you for sharing. But it's a lot of the things you said, a lot of people can resonate. I mean, None of us know the future, Cam. None of us know tomorrow. None of us know what's going to happen in any of our lives. And we all have a choice. Are we going to trust God with the unknown? Because he's the only one that knows.
Mm-hmm.
God is the only one that knows. So are we going to trust him with what we don't know and trust that his plans are good no matter what? And that he does have a plan for you. He has a plan for your life, and his plan for your life cannot be thwarted. That's actually a verse. So regardless of whether you turn to the right or to the left, God is going to draw you back on the straight and narrow path because he has a plan and purpose for your life, to use the gifts that he's given you because they matter. And it's not even about you. Ultimately, it's about what God wants to do in and through your life. And
God has gifted you in so many ways. And I know you can't always see it, but he has gifted you so much, and your gifts won't be wasted. They can't be. God's not going to waste the gifts that he's given you. And I'm just excited to see all that God has in store for your life. And
it could be totally the opposite of what you think.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. None of what you're doing is wasted. And that's another thing. God does not waste anything.
Mm-hmm.
He does not waste anything. He doesn't waste our mistakes. He doesn't waste our heartbreak. He doesn't waste suffering. He doesn't waste decisions that we made that we think end up being bad decisions. He doesn't waste any of it. Like, he uses it all because he uses it all to conform us into the image of Christ, and he uses it all to draw us to himself. Okay, so we could keep talking. We know that. We could keep talking for a long time. But what if we just gave some encouragement to the person listening right now? What would be that encouragement right now in this moment? I'll go first.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
Wait, Cameron, do you want to go first?
No.
What encouragement would you give the listener right now? Cameron, Erin?
Your story's not over.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Mic drop.
Mic
Yeah.
drop is right.
Love
I
that.
I don't know.
love
I don't
it.
even know where that came from.
From God. It's like-
No, honestly, yeah, because that just like came in my head.
Say it again.
Your story's not over.
Mm.
Do you believe that about yourself?
Mm-hmm. Mom, that should be my next tattoo. Oh my gosh, Erin.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Yes.
We're not
perfect.
talking about
Okay.
tattoos.
Yep. Let's do it.
Oh, great. Here we go.
Okay, I have mine.
Don't do it.
I have mine.
So I love that. Your
Mom,
story's not over.
Erin has hers.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Mine is what Cam's sweatshirt says. You matter. And to go off of that, you matter, your life matters, and your story matters.
Ooh, see how she tied mine into hers?
Yeah, see?
Mom,
Yes.
Mom,
hers-
you're going to tie
Yeah, I
ours
was
into
gonna
yours.
say,
Oh, no.
yeah, top
I got
that.
the pressure. Wait, what did you say again? You know what? Right now, in this moment, I feel like it's like that God's going to work all things together for good. Period. Like, there's a
Period.
lot
Mhm.
going on. Everybody has something, but God is going to work it all together for good. What you're going through might not be good, but no matter what, God is faithful. He's kind. He's loving. He's merciful. He's gracious. He is going to take everything and he's going to work it all together for your good. Period.
Period. Oh,
This is something we say a lot. Period.
Erin, will you end this episode in prayer
Aw,
today?
Why didn't you
Nope,
ask
nope,
Pam?
nope. Erin,
Erin, would you
Fine.
end this
Yes,
episode?
yes.
we
Thank
love
you.
we love your prayers.
Oh,
Yes.
thanks, guys. Okay. Heavenly Father, Lord, just thank you so much for this day. Thank you for the time that the three of us have gotten to spend together. Thank you for Cam's life and her testimony, and that we've just been able to talk to her today. She means the world to me, to our family. Thank you just for bringing us all here and that we can glorify and honor you through this episode. Thank you for football and fashion and family and faith. I pray that we would glorify you in all that we do, and I pray that the person listening would be encouraged. And we thank you that you are an immeasurably more God who does immeasurably more in our lives. In Jesus' name, amen.